Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 93rd episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Alonso, joined by Nicholas O'Brien. We got opening day actual games that matter. How we doing?
Excellent. I'm doing great. I'm just so excited. Like I don't care how games went, all that. Obviously, we'll talk about it. But I'm happy baseball's back. Almost every day on my TV. It's great. I'm having a blast watching all these games so far.
My favorite part is how tomorrow is day 5 of the season, and the Yankees will be their second off day.
I'd love how the Mets are off on a fucking Sunday.
Yeah, because God knows why.
Because Apple TV, fuck you.
I agree.
They're lucky I got a free code from Buffalo Wild Wings to get Apple TV for
Really?
a month.
That's how you got it?
I ordered wings on Thursday, and I didn't have an account, so it was like a guest thing. So after the checkout, it's like, oh, here, click here to redeem your free month of Apple TV. I'm like,
better make sure no credit cards attached.
It's too easy.
Gotta make sure
no credit card attached.
Okay, we're good.
I already canceled the subscription, so we're good. But I got it for the Mets game. I'm set. I would have been pretty pissed if I missed that game.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but we got a lot to talk about with the Yankees because a lot of things happen. So we'll get into that right now.
That one is drilled deep to right field. There it goes. See ya.
That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
This is 161st Street, Yankee Stadium. Transfer is available to the B and D trains.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Bronx. Before we get into a all positive, well, there's maybe one minor negative. All positives, got to give it your injury update brought to you by Triboro MD. So,
we're back.
Ian Hamilton, he is starting a minor league rehab assignment, expected to miss the minimum and be back April 8th. Okay. Cool.
Sounds good.
Good
Excellent.
to know.
Good news.
Yeah. No real issues. If you look at the bullpen and you take out Carlos Carrasco because he's a starter, they've only given up 1 run.
I think they're in a good spot.
Giancarlo Stanton has begun swinging a bat because this team needs more offense.
Yeah. Struggling big time offensively.
Oh my God. Yeah. But that's your injury update. Still don't have a timetable yet for Stan. We will update you guys as we get a timetable. But going on to Game 1 opening day. So, I just wanted to say before anything, Brett Gardner's son, you heard about that?
Yeah.
He unfortunately passed away. They did a moment of silence. I thought it was awesome, except for one asshole that was doing like the But the reason why I bring it up is because I didn't know this, but when Judge came up through the minor leagues, he lived with the Gardners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like he was like very close to the Gardners, and like he knew the kids. He knew his son that unfortunately passed away. And one thing Judge is doing now is he's doing like I don't know if you know what Gardner's roll call was.
No.
So it's this for everyone watching. It's just like that.
Oh, I've seen Judge do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's like he only did it when he was in center, like in previous years, but now he's doing it in red as like a thing for Gardner. But just
that's cool
because you could see like Gardner and Judge and Boone were like distraught when they were doing it, but just wanted to do.
Even Carlos Mendoza, Carlos Mendoza had started a press conference talking about it, and he was like visibly kind of shaken up about it because I think he was pretty close to the Gardners as well. But yeah, obviously, just thoughts and prayers to the Gardners family and this really tough time.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just. Okay, it's not let me. I was just trying to see how long he was with the Yankees for Mendoza.
Right.
But I assume he was there for a while with Gardy.
Yeah, I think he also played or something like that. I think because Mendoza played in the minors or something. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. But he was just sad story.
From what I gathered.
I think that's gonna be a storyline with Judge. Maybe that comes up again throughout the year, just because like the whole thing, like he's kind of honoring his son and all that. But getting into the games themselves, Game 1, Yankees won opening day. Nice score, 4-2. Austin Wells, I love you, Pookie. So he had like a 5-6 pitch at bat against Freddie Peralta, one of the better pitchers in the National League, and he took him deep. that is monumental for a couple of different reasons. First time in Yankees history a catcher has ever batted leadoff. First time in Yankees history that they've had an opening day leadoff home run. And we'll get into, just remember that opening day leadoff home run because that matters. But so that, yeah, Anthony Volpe also did have a home run because my narratives. But getting to Carlos Rodon, he had a pretty good start. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. That when he tripped, dude, my heart skipped a beat.
He tripped? I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No.
Dude, it was the most unathletic play I've seen in my entire life.
Oh, no.
Like, it looked like he died. It looked like he literally blew out. Like, I saw it, and I'm like, thinking in my head, I want to make fun of that, but I got to see if he's healthy first. Because that looked like he
Right.
could have just ended his season. He's healthy
Yeah.
now, so I can make fun of it. But it was so unathletic. It just... Tell me when you find it, because
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, but
it was so bad. But speaking of Carlos Rodon, did you see the new pitch he added?
I did not.
He added a one
Oh.
seam.
Oh shit! Sorry, I just found it.
Right?
Oof! He's like, did he just trip over the bag?
He tripped over his foot. He didn't touch the bag. He missed the bag.
Yikes. That's rough.
Now you see what I mean? Of like, I got to see if he's healthy or not because I
Oh,
really want to
that-
make fun of that.
That's a hell of a fall. Like the whole
Yes.
kick out, like feet to the
I
side.
thought he just destroyed his
Oof.
leg.
Yeah, that. Wow. I'm
Yeah.
shocked I didn't see that before today.
Yeah. But that scared me because it was in
Right.
like the third inning. But
Yeah.
regardless, yeah, he added a one seam.
Mm-hmm.
What's a one seam? One seam? One seam, you may ask. It's a different type of sinker. So he added 3.5 inches of vertical break onto his sinker. He threw it 11% of the time, 10 times on Thursday. Had very good results. Definitely something that you're going to see him do a lot more. Because I don't have the article, but he was talking with Chris Kirshner at The Athletic, and he pretty much said that he needs to change the way he pitches because the game has changed. And I know. And what did we talk about, Nick? How he was using his fastball 50% of the time and it was bad. Did you see what his pitch mix was?
Oh yeah, I saw it.
31% slider, 26 fastball, 20 changeup, 11% sinker, 10 curveball. Then he threw 1 cutter. I would
music to my
love-
ears.
If that sinker went up 5 and the fastball went down 5. But I
okay.
am not complaining one bit because,
Yeah.
buddy, you cannot live just on your fastball throwing a quarter of the time. Okay, fine. You want to? Fine. But so much better. So much
Yeah.
better now that... Because it literally was a thing of his slider disgusting, yeah. But his fastball just got hit because it didn't have that movement. Now if he's going to incorporate the changeup and the sinker, which... Do you know who it's most comparable to for a lefty?
No.
Zach
I do not.
Britton.
Oh, you know what? I did see that.
Britton's was
Yeah,
a bit
it's a sh-
better,
Yeah.
but like the numbers compared the most to Zach Britton.
Right.
So
Excuse me.
yeah,
But yeah,
love
definitely
that.
interesting. You'd
from
love to
Carlos
see it
Rodon.
from Rodon. Yeah, absolutely. And he honestly, he had like one of his best outings like ever as a Yankee. You could probably say that, like that probably fits the bill in like top 10.
Like the one run was a solo shot.
Right.
So
But yeah, I just absolutely love to see the fastball being his second most used pitch. I think that's kind of where you want it to be the entire time because it no longer grades out that well of an elite pitch. It's been slowly degrading year by year. So the fact that now he's finally realizing that he needs to change, maybe a year too late. Not I don't want to say too late, but a year late. It would have been nice last year, but to see him finally kind of understand and throw differently is nice to see. Now, I'm not getting too worked up because he's gotta sustain it.
oh
Like
yeah.
if next start it's 50% like four seam, then it's like all right, back to square one.
I'll say this. I'm very happy, and I think it does mean a lot that it's the first start of the season he's going with this.
Mhm.
I'm hyping him up a lot. I'll be shitting on him just as much if he goes back to a next start.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
Like, I'm not trying to overreact, like, too much, because trust me, the overreaction will come later. The overreactions will come later. But it's a thing of, I really like what I saw, but I will be so fucking critical of him if he goes back to what he was doing before, because that was just not working. You can't go and talk to people about, like, yeah, like, I need to change this, that, do one start, get pretty good results, and then just fall off a cliff.
Just throw it off to the side.
But thinking about people that almost fell off a cliff, Devin Williams almost shit himself.
That was scary.
Yeah. So, he entered with a 3-run lead, 4-1. He ended up giving a couple of hits, couple of walks. It became a 4-2 game with a tying run at second base, and not good. He ended up striking out, I believe. No, he ended up getting a ground out to whoever leadoff was, and striking out Yelich on a high pitch to end the game. And I'm going to chalk it up to two things. One being his former team, first time pitching against them. And two, it also being like opening day, first time in Yankee Stadium, all that. Because we all know the caliber of pitcher Devin Williams is. So I'm not going to say I'm brushing it under the rug, but he's an elite guy for a reason. You traded for him for a reason. So I'm not going to freak out yet unless this becomes something sustained. Then I'm going to start freaking out. But
Yeah, I think a combination of jitters, the weather and all that, he'll be fine.
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that, pitching in the dome for most of his career.
Yeah, that too.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a good call out too. Yeah.
But then going on to game 2, the game that I was at. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know how.
I do.
So-
I do. Poor Nestor Cortez. I feel
Whoa,
so
let
bad.
me before you get into that. A lot of people before the game were crying about the lineup
Oh yeah.
because the
That's it.
lineup wasn't really that good. So
it was a
reading off the
lineup.
line,
It was a lineup.
it was a lineup. It was Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, Pablo Reyes, Jason Dominguez, Trent Grisham. I probably would have benched one of Pablo Reyes and Trent Grisham. One of them I probably would have swapped for Ben Rice or Oswaldo Cabrera. Whatever, I get it. You want to stack it against Nestor because Nestor does, especially last year, had horrible splits, righty-lefty splits. So I was like, okay, I get it. I'm not gonna shit on it entirely because we also got Max Fried pitching all this. Yeah. 3 pitches into the bottom of the first inning, there were 3 home runs hit. I was literally looking at my dad. Home run by Goldman. What? I'm like still high-fiving people. And then I look back to watch the game. Home run by Cody Bellinger. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I start like texting in a group chat. And I look down for 2 seconds, texting in a group chat. What? Aaron Judge at 1-2. What the fuck is going on? It was.
Yeah, it was crazy.
13
I put the game on just because it was the only game on at the time. I'm like, whatever, let me just put the game on. So I got baseball in the background. And then, yeah, just, oh, wow. All right. Good for Goldschmidt. Oh, wow. All right. Cool. Bellinger. What the fuck is happening?
13 runs to 3 innings, 16 through 4. I thought they were breaking the Yankees record. The Yankee record was 22 for most runs.
They're on pace.
They were on pace. But, yeah, poor Nestor, dude.
I know. I
There was
honestly feel so bad.
There was a point where he had 4 consecutive pitches that were all home runs. If you include the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam.
Yeah, that's not great. I'm also shocked that Nestor Cortez is the Brewers' Game 2 starter.
Yeah. Could have been a spring
mean,
training thing, just schedules and...
I mean, I don't know who else. I mean, maybe, I think, oh, you know what? I'm pretty sure Tobias Myers was held back or something.
I mean,
But regardless,
Corbin Burns,
he's hurt.
Burns is the
yeah.
Game 5 starter for the Diamondbacks.
Well, yeah, that was spring training stuff. I know that much.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, weird
But,
stuff
yeah.
can happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was just weird to see.
Yeah. But, what was I going to even say? I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone that hit a home run. You ready? Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge, once, twice, 3 times. He had a 5-barrel day. He had 5 barrels in that game. That is the second time in
That's
MLB
good.
history that has happened. And he joins, checks notes, Aaron Judge is the only player in Major League Baseball history to do that.
Insane.
It's-
Absolutely insane.
I saw something that, like a meme, saying like Aaron Judge, and it was like, you know, like the Barry Bonds edit where it's like the you could tell everybody, and like people like
Yeah.
say like, it was like Aaron Judge when the weather's above 50 degrees. Because it was 80 degrees.
Above 50 degrees.
Is he a hot temperature merchant?
Is he?
I mean, today was below 50. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Granted, he only got 1 goddamn at bat, but which I'll get into soon, Brewers. But yeah, I think it'd be very interesting to see if we could see like a chart of his numbers above and below
I
50
know.
degrees.
That'd be so funny.
Anyways, getting back to the list. Austin Wells, nice. Anthony Volpe, nice. Jazz, nice. Oswald Peraza, nice. The Yankees' previous home run record for most of the game was 8. Now it's 9. The MLB record is 10. They got close, but they didn't get it. But, of course, whenever good stuff happens with the Yankees, there is always controversy. So, as some of you guys may have heard, a couple Yankees players use different bats. So, Volpe and Jazz are the 2 most notable, I think, for using this bat. Because a lot of guys, like Judge isn't using it, Wells isn't using it, Bellinger is using a different one, but not the same type.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because they hired some super fucking nerd from MIT that's just a
A
genius.
physicist.
Yeah. And he analyzed Volpe and Jazz, and he said, like, you guys are hitting a lot of the time on the label, not the barrel. So what we're going to do is the area that you hit the ball a lot more, we're going to move some of the wood up. So because of that, the bat kind of looks like a torpedo. I heard some people say bowling ball. I think torpedo is kind of
I
like...
like torpedo.
Because it also sounds cooler. But
Sure.
it looks like a torpedo. I would look it up if you guys haven't. Just look up Jazz Chisholm torpedo bat, and there's a pretty good angle of it. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's illegal. Oh, this. Oh, that. Da 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 da." But I have a quote from the MLB rulebook. According to MLB Rule 3.02, the bat should be a smooth, round stick, not more than 2.61 inches diameter at the thickest part, and not more than 42 inches in length. The bat shall be one piece of solid wood. It also notes that experimental bats cannot be used, so the manufacturer has secured approval from Major League Baseball of his designs and methods of manufacture. That quote's from an article in The Athletic by Chris Kirshner. And, yeah, the Yankees, you literally could not use these bats in spring training until they were approved by baseball. So if they're illegal, which, another thing, the shape of the bat does not violate the rules per a league spokesperson. If these bats are illegal, you're telling me that the Brewers, Anthony Volpe hit a home run game 1. They had an off day. Volpe and Jazz both hit a home run the next day. Not a single umpire, not a single player, not a single coach, not a single person in the analytics department is telling, hey, something's weird with their bats.
Yep.
I'm only going on a rant because I'm seeing so many people like, oh, Yankees are cheating. This is a common thing for guys to use different types of bats. I don't know why people are making this such a big story. In a negative way. In a negative way.
It's just the fact that, like, people use different bats, but this is the first time that it's, like, a noticeable different shape.
Mhm.
Like, you know, it's a lot of... I feel like a lot of the different bats are more at the handle. Like, you like see the axe knobs or, like, the
No
no
knob.
knobs. Right, stuff like that. But, like, this is the first time where, like, the crux of the bat is different.
Mhm.
And this is the first time we've ever seen it different.
Yeah.
And then it's, you know, obviously change bad. This is not okay. But I was very interested to see if it was illegal or not. But the fact of the matter is, it's... Forget about what this says about, like, what the shape of the bat needs to be, whatever. The fact that experimental bats cannot be used unless approved prior by Major League Baseball.
Not
is
even in
all you need
spring
to know.
training. Can't even use them in
Right.
spring training.
Right, like, that's all you need to know. It literally could not be used before it was approved, and here we are.
even Jason Dominguez
Super
over the
interesting.
offseason, there was like a video, I forget what bat company he's sponsored with, but they made him a custom bat, and they talked about how they had to go through a process sending it to the league office to get it
Right.
approved before he could use it. And he's
Yeah.
using a different type. It's not the torpedo bat. And even Cody Bellinger, same thing. Do you see the video by Fuzzy that came out in spring
No,
training?
I've seen it been going around, but I never saw it.
Yeah, pretty much Bellinger. I forget what was different with his, but like he used a different type of bat, and then he gave that video to a reporter. That reporter talked to Bellinger. Bellinger like cleared it up and said like, yeah, like I'm doing this, whatever, got approved, whatever. But
Yeah.
a lot of another thing too that just is crazy is the guy's already got hired by the Marlins.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like he already got another job, and that's why I think Michael K. Initially I was like, yo, why the hell are you saying that?
Mhm.
But then like you're seeing like, okay, the guy got hired by the Marlins. A lot of other teams
Right.
knew it. Even Alex Cora said a lot of players on the Red Sox tried them out in spring training. I'm pretty sure he said
Yeah.
none of them stuck with it.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it also is, I don't want to say niche, but very specific.
Yeah.
Because even Aaron Judge said like, yeah, I'm not doing it. Like why?
Yeah.
Like why do I need to change my bat?
Why does he need to? Yeah.
Yeah, and because a guy like Volpe or Jazz, if they're more likely to hit the ball higher up on the bat, then why? It makes more sense to do that. But if there are guys that hit it closer on it, why do that?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of just where I'm
It
at. And they
depends
even-
on the swing. And
exactly,
everything.
yeah. Because they said that another thing too is that they analyze where they make contact the most, not where they get hits necessarily the most, contact the most.
Right.
So that
Right.
way it's fatter there, so they're more likely to just not swing and miss. Even if it's a foul tip, whatever, they're more likely to make more contact.
Right.
So
Super interesting. And what's it called? Today alone, I saw 2 players use it on teams not the Yankees. I saw
Yeah.
Ryan Jeffers on the Twins was using one, and Nico Horner on the Cubs was using one. So
well, Nico Horner's a Yankee. We all
There you go.
know that, but
yeah, obviously.
wait, he's
That's
back
why he's
already?
playing in Arizona. Yeah, he's fine. I think
I
just
thought he was
missed,
gonna
I
miss,
think
like, a
he
couple
missed
weeks.
Japan. I think he
Okay.
missed Japan, if I'm not
Okay.
wrong.
Got you. But that must have been a weird IL situation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Besides the point. Yeah, but there was, of course, some bad in this game with the defense. They had 5 errors. 2 of them were by Pablo Reyes. Do we want to kill him, or like should we let the Yankees kill him? Like, what are we doing here?
I'm sure he's already gone.
D-
It's too late. It's too late for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
I
whole
mean-
point, buddy, is that you're a platoon guy that will play good defense, infield and outfield, and you caused 2 errors that were like pretty easy plays. Both of them didn't hit for shit either. Don't forget that. Oswald Peraza came in, immediately hit a home run. So
He already has. Oh no, that's. Oh, sorry, that was last year. Because I was about to say he already has -4 outs above average. But no,
sounds
that
about
was,
right.
That was in 2024.
But
He has never
at it.
been a good defender.
I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
it is tougher for utility guys.
Yeah, it's definitely smaller sample sizes, but he's been above average twice in his career since 2018.
Yeah.
But regardless.
Anyways, final 2 notes about that game. Max Fried, he went 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs. Only 2 of them earned. 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. But it was like,
Anyways,
I'm
there
good.
it is.
Okay. So, do you know what the average exit velocity was against him?
Below 85.
81.4.
There it is.
So, there were a bunch of balls that were just
That's
Hit-
Brewers ball, baby.
these weak dribblers, whatever, stuff like that. So, I'm not
Put
really
into
going to
play and speed kills.
What'd you say?
That's their MO. I said put in play and speed kills.
Yeah.
That's their
No,
entire
that
MO.
definitely is part of their game, but I don't think you could count on the infield making 5 errors in the span of 4 innings every game for Max Fried.
Every
Okay,
game,
okay,
no,
okay.
But the Yankees defense has not been great.
Max Fried is a guy that is known for like being a Gold Glove caliber pitcher. Hasn't he won
And
one
he
in the
made an error
past?
himself. He's
What's
won
it-
like
that-
one or two. Yeah.
But that's what point I'm making. Paul Goldschmidt, he's won Gold Gloves. He made an error. Anthony Volpe, he's won Gold Gloves. he made an error. So I think it's one of those things where it was just one of those things. A lot happened at once.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, it was also 3 of the 4 guys that made errors were new guys.
Right.
So I don't.
And
I'm
Max
not
Fried is a
gonna.
3-time Gold Glove winner, by the way.
What'd you say?
Fried is a 3-time Gold Glove winner.
I knew he was regarded as like one of the best.
Yeah,
fielders,
no,
but-
he's really good. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna look too deep into that. I think that people are gonna make kind of false narratives about it. But if this becomes an issue,
I wouldn't call it false when it's been an issue in the past.
yeah. I mean,
You know
but
what I
take out
mean?
my thing with Pablo Reyes is I just don't think he's a good defender. That's
He's
one
not.
thing.
Obviously, he's not.
That's one thing. But the 3 guys that made an error was Paul Goldschmidt, who's 1 Gold Gloves, Max Fried, who has 3 for a pitcher, and then Anthony Volpe, who's one of the best fielders in baseball.
I'll push back on Paul Goldschmidt because he hasn't won a Gold Glove.
He hasn't?
Let's see. In a while.
Okay, I was gonna say.
He hasn't won in 4 years. His
Okay.
last one came in 2021, and then before that, 2017.
Okay.
So I'm
He's-
pushed back on Goldschmidt, but he's still a first baseman.
I was gonna say he's still
So
a
whatever.
competent first baseman.
Right. So whatever. But
Yeah.
yes.
I don't. If this becomes an issue over the next week, then I'll start being more concerned.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
relax. on it.
There's nothing that happened on opening week where I think many teams should be concerned that this something will be a pressing issue. It's only been 3 games for the max for some teams, but for Yankees and Mets, it's only been 3 games.
I mean, the Brewers
So-
do have Cy Young candidate Jake Bauers, who threw 2 scoreless innings.
I know he's one of the only guys that were able to subdue Judge.
Yeah, seriously. But the last thing that I thought was pretty interesting was that Carlos Carrasco finished the last 2 innings of the game. Very, because I thought they were gonna go.
I think just things were it's the game's over. So
Yeah, get him work.
Yeah, give him work and don't use anyone that you would want to use tomorrow.
Yeah, because also they're doing the rotation. I didn't think about it, but based off the way the schedule works out, they got to get a little weird with the rotation. Not too weird. I'll get into that later when I get into the preview. But yeah, getting into Game 3, Yankees won this one again, 12-3. They scored 36 runs, 3 fucking games, but I thought it was a little weird. I don't want to say necessarily weird, but interesting that they had Goldie lead off again.
Yeah, no, me too. I was shocked they kept the lineup
Because I saw
pretty
Goldie
similar.
was lead off. I'm like, oh, I thought the Brewers had a righty on the mound, and then I saw some.
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
am I seeing this wrong or something? But hey, it worked out. I'm not complaining, but
worked.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure
think
he
I
had a
saw,
really good.
Aaron Savali has reverse splits or something, if I'm not wrong. I saw someone say that,
I mean,
so I'm gonna double check myself before.
Yeah,
I
Paul
make
Goldschmidt
myself
went
look like a fool.
3. He went 3 for 5 with an RBI,
Right.
so he had a good game.
Yeah.
He was fine.
Yeah.
Back to back.
It's just so weird to see Paul Goldschmidt lead off.
Oh, that's
Wells. I could see more as a leadoff hitter than Paul Goldschmidt.
that was only the 3rd time in MLB history that guys have gone back-to-back days, with it being the first time they're leading off and
Yeah.
that hit home runs their first time leading off
Yeah.
on back-to-back days for a team.
Aaron Savali does have a little bit of reverse splits. Righties do hit him a touch better. I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point though. A 255 average to 236, a 431 slug to a 411,
Okay, it's not
a
crazy.
319 WOBA to a 302. Whatever. But
Not the craziest.
that's probably the thought process, I would think.
So
And it
Marcus-
worked.
yeah, Marcus Stroman, he came into the game. He let up a run in the 1st inning.
I thought it was Raps.
I thought it was rough. Then you get to the bottom of the 1st inning. Aaron Judge says, "Fuck you." He hits a 2-run home run to give the Yankees a lead.
So effortless.
Dude, it doesn't make
So
sense.
effortless.
Doesn't make sense. Then Ben Rice in the 2nd inning, gone. Then in the 3rd inning, the Brewers said, "You know what? Fuck you. Go to first base." Jazz says, "Fuck you. He's coming home." Hits a 2-run home run to make it a 5-1 game after the 3rd inning. I'm not gonna overreact, and say this offense is insane. They're gonna hit 15 home run, average out 5 home runs a game. That's just not gonna happen. But by the way, that tied the AL/NL record for most home runs the first 3 games to start a season. So the MLB record, yeah. But that's not gonna happen every game. Aaron Judge is gonna have his home runs. He's not gonna hit 4 home runs in 2 games. He's not gonna hit 2 home runs a game. That's just not gonna happen. Could he break 62? I definitely think it's possible, especially if he starts off hot. If Aaron Judge starts off hot, the league is fucked. The league is fucked. Dude, like, you take out, he had 58 home runs from May 4th on. So that's in
2
like
months.
130 games, he had 58 home runs.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the only thing that I'll like, not one of the big things I'll kind of look at. Of like, if Aaron Judge comes out hot, like, holy shit. But the Brewers were pussies today, and Aaron Judge had 1 at bat because the other 3 he got walked. If Jazz Chisholm,
I do the same.
But if Torpedo Bat Jazz is the best hitter the best lefty hitter in the American League, then you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm saying. If this is real, what we're seeing from Jazz, it helps out Judge so much.
100%.
If Jazz Chisholm can, I think a realistic outcome if Jazz plays 150 games is 30-30.
Especially at the stadium.
Yeah. If Jazz does that, I think Aaron Judge breaks 62. I'd be pretty confident he does. Just because that means that it's a lot less likely that they could just walk Judge.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing with Jazz is he's so streaky at times.
He is, yeah.
Like,
But
forget
Torpedo
about
Bat.
health. Yeah. Torpedo Bat doesn't help if you're, whiffing at a curveball 15 feet in the other batter's box.
Torpedo.
But no, I mean, yeah, the offense looks really good. The only pushback I have is the Yankees always start off hot. I feel like they always start off hot. And then they fizzle out kind of like, call it maybe summer months, like June. June is kind of like the time where like all Yankees fans are kind of like, oh my God, this team sucks. They're in a rut, blah, blah, blah. And then, they make the playoffs anyways. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Obviously, you can push back on it.
Kind of. The last couple of years, kind of. But there was a while where like they would always, like the first month of the season, they were just not good.
Right.
Like, even last year, I think they were like pretty solid. But they weren't like...
Weren't they like lighting the world on fire last year?
I'm talking like until Judge got going. They were like really good. But like there were issues with the bullpen, stuff like that. And then once Judge got going, that's when they started kind of lighting it on fire.
In 2024.
I know they won like their first 6 games. Yeah, because they swept in Houston, won the first 2 in Arizona, and then Clay Holmes blew it in the last game in Arizona. Because I remember we were in management when it happened.
Yes.
And I remember the Alex Verdugo home run. And everyone was barking on the dugout. And
they were 40 and what's this? 40 and like 9. They were 40 and 19 by the end of May.
Never mind.
That is that's a roaring start. And then June 14 and 13, July 11 and 13, August 14 and 12.
Yeah.
You see, like, I feel like that's been how it's been the last few years, last handful of years. Like, they start off super hot, they fizzle out in the middle months.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that's my only pushback is I feel like we always see this.
Well, you didn't let me finish my Game 3 recap.
Yes, go ahead.
Because Marcus Stroman, 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeout. Okay. That's all you have to do, buddy. I'd prefer if you got that one last out, so it was 5 innings.
Yeah.
Just because I have a little bit of a pet peeve about putting in guys for like 1 out. Just because I don't like. Obviously, you do it if you have to. I'm not saying don't do it, but you put in a guy for an out, sit him down, put him back in for another. I just don't like that like up down type thing. Just I feel like it can cause injuries. Or just I don't know. It's just weird to me in general. But put more stress on the arm, just more work than they really should.
All that.
Get 5 innings. 5 innings, 3 runs. That's all you need to do, Marcus. I don't give a fuck. That's all you have to do, especially only get 5 innings because we don't want you pitching 140. But
for no particular reason.
for no
of
particular
course.
reason. But getting into the overall notes, so I just wanted to highlight the first kind of 4 guys in the lineup. Paul Goldschmidt went 5 for 12. Cody Bellinger went 4 for 10. Aaron Judge went 6 for 11. Jazz went 5 for 12. Bellinger also had, or why did I do it this way? I was so stupid doing it this way. Goldie went 5 for 12 with a walk and a home run. Bellinger went 4 for 10 with a walk and a home run.
All right.
Aaron Judge went 6 for 11 with 3 walks. How many extra base hits do you think he had? 6 hits.
6.
Yes. 4 home runs and 2 doubles.
Yeah.
And do you know what his ex-Woba is right now? It's obviously off the fucking charts. It's silly, but
Large. Over 500.
yes.
Oof. What is it?
801.
Tell me. Holy crap.
Because I just want to see
Alright.
like his average exit velocity, and I just see an 801 ex-Woba. I'm like, huh?
What do you mean? That's
Granted,
awful.
obviously, that's absurd. Never gonna maintain out.
Unsustainable, yada yada yada.
Yeah, but I just thought that. Do you know what his expected slugging is?
753.
Yeah, maybe double
a-
that.
Oh shit.
1531. His expected slugging.
I love early season expected stats.
It's just so goofy how good he is at baseball.
Mhm.
And I didn't even mention this in game 2, but when he hit that 3rd home run, when he came out that next inning, the entire fucking, because he was right in front of me, the entire
Right.
section just started bowing down to him.
Yeah.
And then did you see the Dominguez gif?
Yeah,
Dude, that is gonna be my
the-
favorite gif of all time. For those that didn't see it, Jason Dominguez, once Judge hit the home run today, you just see him go like a guy trying to do the baby face.
The baby face. Yeah. Bow down.
Like that. But
Bow wow.
yeah. Wins. Runs.
Runs. I was running out of captions. Tell you that much.
But a look ahead because the Brewers got fucked. Just to put it in layman's terms, they did not do well. You got a 3-game set against the Diamondbacks starting on Tuesday. Game 1 is Corbin Burns versus Will Warren. Easy Yankees advantage. Game 2 is Zach Allen versus Carlos Rodon. Game 3 is Merrill Kelly versus Carlos Carrasco. So that's what I was saying, where it's kind of weird that they skipped him one start. They kind of had to do that. But because of the opening days and the off days and all that type of mumbo jumbo, so that's kind of why he got those 2 innings.
Right.
The Diamondbacks just split with the Cubs. Did they win the last 2? I know they won today.
I believe they won the last 2. I'll
Yeah,
double check.
I know that the game against the fucking what's-their-faces, the game today, they had an 8-run fucking 8th inning to come back down from 6-2.
Ryan Nelson
Dude, that was
got
crazy.
an RBI single because they lost the DH, so they had to use like pinch hitters throughout. But it was insane. I watched the last bit of that game. It was insane. But no, they flip-flopped loss wins. So
Okay.
loss win.
So that works for the Yankees. They'll win the
They're
first
bound
and
for a
third games.
loss.
So
There you go.
yeah, just take care of business. That's like the best.
You cannot say that against the Diamondbacks. Take care of business. Get over yourself. Oh my god.
I just know how much you love the Diamondbacks, so I just wanted
Get
to
over
say
yourself.
that. But yeah, that obviously
Corbin
is.
Carroll, Catal Marte, Josh Naylor,
let me
Jake
speak.
McCarthy, Alec Thomas are all going to take advantage of the short porch.
Did you say Corbin Burns was going to take advantage of the short porch?
Corbin Carroll?
Because I was going to say Corbin Burns, and you said Corbin, so my
Hey,
brain just
maybe
filled in.
Ryan Nelson hit today. Maybe Corbin Burns gets in that bat then.
But Corbin Burns and Zach Allen are starting for them, so it is a really good pitching matchup, especially because the Diamondbacks are facing Will Warren, Rodon, and Carrasco. So they definitely do have the pitching matchup, but ball go Burr, so ball Burr.
Yeah, no, definitely.
As long
Zach
as there's
Allen had
Waldo
a very
Cabrera-
weird start.
As long as Oswaldo Cabrera is starting against his son Corbin Burns, we're fine.
But no, all I was gonna say is Gallen had like a weird opening day start. He had like no idea where the ball was going.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something to keep an eye on for the Yankees. Obviously, don't swing out of your shoes if the guy doesn't know where he's throwing the ball.
Yeah.
So, but
But then moving on to the Pirates, where you definitely could say take care of business. So they got a 3-game set
Yes.
in Pittsburgh.
definitely.
Did they play 4 against the Marlins or 3 against the Marlins?
I believe they
Played 4,
4.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone saw this, but the last 3 games they got walked off against the Marlins.
The Marlins.
The Marlins.
I put the game on opening day because it was the only game it was like a weird in between where there's games ending, no game starting. It was the only game on. I could not tell you half of these guys in the Marlins lineup. I know Otto Lopez and Xavier Edwards and Kyle Stowers because I was heckling him last year at a Mets game. I really don't know a lot of this Marlins lineup.
Well, the Canine guy made a nice play around the home run.
Yeah, and his dad was in the stands, whatever. But yeah, Conine.
Yeah.
Him too. I forgot about him. But
Yeah.
definitely the pitching is the strong suit of the I forgot we're talking about the Pirates. So I was going to start talking
Pirates.
about the Marlins.
But even
whatever.
then,
Even
about it being
then,
the strong. Do you know what
it
this
is.
lines up to be?
No. Let me know. Give it to me.
This isn't like set in stone because the TBDs, it's not confirmed. But I kind of just like did
Mhm.
the math and mapped it out. So it would be, and this is for both sides, Yankees and Pirates. Game 1 would be Max Fried versus the Heen Dog. Game 2 would be Marcus Stroman versus Carmen Moldzinski. Moldzinski? What'd you say?
I'm looking. Let me.
That's the point that I'm.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah.
And ML, it just started off is already a red flag. Molodzinski. Molodzinski.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
And then game 3 is Will Warren versus Paul Skeens. So you are seeing Paul Skeens if this pans out the way that it looks like it's going to pan out.
If Justin mapped it out correctly.
But still,
Big if.
If you lose to Paul Skeens, because Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens, okay.
Fair enough.
You know, like, fair enough, whatever. I think he's going to win the Cy Young if he stays healthy this year in the National League. But you got to win those other 2 games. Like, that's just... Anything other than a series win in Pittsburgh, I think, is a disappointment. Please win the Diamondbacks. I mean, I'm confident in the Merrill Keller. Why did I say that? They have Carrasco pitching. Never mind. I'm confident they could hit Kelly.
Right.
It's a thing of, can you win one game of Corbin Burns versus Will Warren or Zach Gallen versus Rodon? That's really what it's going to come down to. I think they can because Torpedo go Burr. But we'll see. National League, never know. Granted, they won 2 out of 3 last year, but 2 completely different teams. Can't really use that as a measuring stick for either team, but that's all I had. Unless you had anything else for Yankees going Burr.
The last thing I wanted to really touch on, because I couldn't find a good section to bring this up, but I'm going to shout out a tweet from James Shiano over on Twitter, because he's looking up at the league-wide expected weight on base on fly balls.
I think I saw this.
Thus far on March and April. Last year was at 429, and the balls were very much regular, nothing crazy. In 2019, which is obviously the juice ball era, 489 expected weighted on base. Thus far in 2025, it's at 507. So obviously extremely small sample size. But there were a few balls throughout the league that I saw get hit that was kind of like, huh.
Yeah.
How'd that get out?
I will say, I'm curious
something
how
to
inflated
watch.
that got because of the Yankees, because
Yeah.
it's never 80 degrees and the wind was crazy.
Right.
Like for anyone that doesn't know, like the wind at the game on Saturday was crazy. It was
Yeah.
You could feel everything just getting blown out. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to brush it aside. I'm kind of with you where it's like interesting to see.
Oh yeah,
how
I'm
it
not
all-
saying like, oh
Yeah,
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 just
yeah,
balls,
yeah.
but like,
But interesting to see
interesting.
because I feel like I saw a lot of clips of teams in domes too,
Right.
with like
Yeah.
Arizona, Chicago. You had obviously the Marlins. You had the Mets. Like I saw a lot of either dome games or games in hot temperature, like with the Rays playing in fucking Florida. So
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. But I just thought that was something interesting to note. But
yeah,
besides that, obviously a very good opening weekend for the Yankees.
could not have been better.
Yeah, it really couldn't have been better. There's really not much else to say on that part. Just obviously you hope the lineup can kind of keep it up. That's really it, right? I mean, 3 games, so there's nothing crazy to talk about just yet, but Aaron Judge is still really good at baseball. Cody Bellinger's hitting the ball hard, which was something I was worried about.
And
Anthony
pulling it
Volpe
too.
is
And
pulling fly balls. Yeah.
Anthony Volpe and Cody Bellinger are pulling fly balls. That's
Are
all
pulling
that
fly balls.
matters.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. And
Yeah, I
then,
think Chris Kirshner had like a tweet that was like, "Huh, would you look at that? Anthony Volpe pulled the ball that he didn't hit particularly hard, and it was a home run."
that's why you pull fly balls, because you don't need to hit it 100 miles an hour.
I think he hit
Look
like
at Isak
96 or
Paredes.
something, like 95, 96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not hit that hard comparatively. But and then, Austin Wells is just that fucking guy. So, but
And we
yeah.
haven't even seen Benjamin hasn't even been unlocked yet.
Yeah, exactly. He just hit his first home run today.
Yeah, pretty sure he got on
So,
base 3 times today. Also,
It's just the beginning. This is just the beginning. But yeah,
Ben
that's all I had on the Yankees. So
Yeah.
with that being said, let's head on over to Queens.
It's out of here! And the Mets win it!
This is Mets Willets Point. Transfer is available to the 7 local train.
Transfer is available to the Q48 bus to LaGuardia.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Queens. The Mets have a little bit of an opposite opening weekend. Not as bad as last year, so we're already on the up and up. So don't worry about that. But before we get into the Astros series, quick Triboro MD injury report. Paul Blackburn on opening day was placed on the 15-day IL with knee inflammation.
did
Okay.
the leak of his spine go
It
into
traveled
his
down to his
knee
knee.
that
Yeah,
inflamed
yes.
his knee because he had spinal
Yep.
fluid in his. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah. I don't buy it. He seems fine. I mean, could it be an issue? Maybe. At the very least, or not the very least, like at the most, I think it's one of those things like, you feel a little something? All right, well, let's put it on the IL. Because they really don't need him until like another week, I think. Week or so. They don't really need a 6th starter. So whatever. But yeah, Paul Blackburn is placed on a 15-day IL with knee inflammation. That is why Huascar Brazaban made the team.
I just love having him on the team just so you could say his name
Huascar.
because it sounds like Carl from Jimmy Neutron. Croissant.
Jimmy Schmack.
Yeah, we're being nerds, but
Croissant. Anyways, after Paul Blackburn, Francisco Alvarez. Some good news for Alvarez. He had his stitches removed, and on Saturday he participated in receiving drills. Is just your reminder that he did break the bone in his receiving hand, so his catching hand. So I think it mentioned it was like soft baseballs. So obviously, just to see him getting a little bit of work in with that hand, obviously good news for Francisco Alvarez. But after that, we'll get into the games. So the Mets start the season 1-2. In game 1, they had Clay Holmes going. He got the opening day nod. He looked fine. He pitched 4 2/3, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. No, yes, 3 runs allowed, 2 earned runs. He walked 4, hit 1 batter, and struck out 4. He had a very Clay Holmes inning where he just didn't know where the ball was going, walked the guy, ground ball found a hole, and a run scored. But the good thing is he didn't just pitch 1 inning, so it's fine. But he did have a very, your main issue Clay Holmes inning that you saw a lot last year with the Yankees.
I'm not saying anything.
You can take your victory lap because
I will not take my victory lap.
okay.
I will just say it was fun being on the radio and hearing Mark Spinelli reacting to Clay Holmes's stat line as it was happening live.
I think this was a fine stat line.
No, I know, but it's just him saying, like, what are
Okay.
they doing? Did you have a chance to listen?
I didn't get a chance to listen, unfortunately.
So Mark was like, what are we doing? And then, like,
Oh,
as,
he
like,
pulled the
every
"What are we
inning,
doing?" Oh,
he was like,
no.
what do we do? Like, what are they doing making him a starter? And it was just, like, going off into the... Mark Spinelli was not happy with the
I
Clay
know.
Holmes
He
decision.
has never been on board with it from
It's
the
so
get-go.
That's more
From
what
the
I'm
get-go,
laughing
I
at.
remember
Just
that. Yeah.
me personally, I really don't care one way or the other personally. I just like
Mm.
the you versus Mark, essentially.
Yeah, honestly,
You know what
that's
I
what
mean?
this
The
is.
Clay Holmes
Yeah.
and just like grabbing a bucket of popcorn, just watching it.
But no,
Makes
this
good
was a
makes good
fine
content for
outing.
2 of my things, so I'm
Yeah,
happy.
You're welcome.
Either way, it's
This was a
content.
This was a fine outing. He got up to 80, I think about like 85 pitches around that. I think it was 89, if I'm remembering correctly. But 4 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. Luis Angel Acuna kind of fucked him over with a ground ball that should have been a double play, and Acuna threw it into the dugout, which allowed another run to score. Or I think the run either scored it was bases loaded. I honestly forget, but regardless, Acuna kind of, didn't really help him out too much there. But say he went, if he finished the 5th inning, if he went 5 innings and 2 runs, we'd be talking completely different. The pitching was not the issue, but we'll talk about that. But since we're talking about Clay Holmes, I really want to just dig into what I saw from him on opening day, because I think there was a little bit of a discrepancy from what we saw in spring training to what we saw on opening day. He kind of just reverted back to what worked as a reliever, which you can't do. So
Don't
his
get me
pitch
started
mix,
on that shit, dude.
His pitch mix, this outing, 49% sinker, 29% sweeper, 9% slider, 6% cutter, 4% changeup, and then it was like 2 four seams he threw. In spring training, he went 37% sinker, 18% sweeper, 18 changeup, 12 slider, 10 cutter, 5 four seam. I did not like this pitch mix at all. I don't know if this was a Luis Torrens game calling decision or this was a Clay Holmes decision, because he just kind of wanted to get comfortable, but I do not like this pitch mix as a starter. I don't think you cannot throw your sinker 50% of the time as a starter, because you don't have that elite velocity that you did as a reliever. As a reliever, he averaged like 96.6 to be exact on his sinker. This outing, he averaged 94.1. The sinker is still a good pitch, but it doesn't have the velocity that you had as a reliever that made it elite, right? His sinker was an elite pitch as a reliever. Right now, as a starter, it's a solid pitch. You just don't have the velocity anymore because you need to.
And it's
contain
also
it.
a thing of, too, that if you're throwing it that much slower, that's one thing. But if you're throwing it without control at that much slower, then it's going to be so much easier just to lay off. 2.5 miles an hour is a big difference on average.
Yeah, that's huge.
And so if you're throwing that, it was what, 50% of the time?
49, so call it 50.
Call it 50, yeah. You're throwing that 50% of the time, and guys are just able to spit on it, essentially. Because at least with Clay Holmes, when he was wild, his stuff was disgusting enough that if guys weren't prepared for it, they'd still swing out of their shoes. But if you're not adding like a bunch of movement or whatever, and you're taking off the speed, and you're not really gaining the control that you need to have, then why are you throwing it that much? That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I very much disagreed with how they went about that. Again, I don't know if this was a Holmes trying to settle in type of thing. I will say, I also think, opening day starter, I think the jitters, I'm sure,
Yeah.
were definitely a factor.
It's one start. It's one
Yeah,
start.
of course.
He's probably going to have 25 starts, call it.
Right, of course. But yeah, I didn't like the pitch mix. I'm not a fan of how he went about it. He barely threw the changeup. He threw the changeup 4 times the entire outing. To be fair, the Astros only had one lefty, which was Yordan Alvarez, which he did use the changeup against. But the changeup was like a weapon. Like this is not just like a pitch to just throw against lefties. Like I would be completely okay if he started throwing these against righties. This is a good pitch. I'm pulling up the Stuff Plus grade right now, but yeah, his changeup is exactly average, or it's a little below average. Yeah, 98. So call it what it is, but it's a solid pitch. I wouldn't mind him kind of using that on both sides, but I'm assuming it's just because there's only the one lefty in Yordan Alvarez that he didn't really use it. But yeah, I do not think you can be a essential 2-pitch pitcher as a starter if you're Clay Holmes. You cannot throw your sinker 49% of the time. That's just not going to work. So that's
Especially
just
when it's
something
nothing
to
special.
not like. Yeah, now it's nothing special. It was fine. Like it as a excuse me, as a wow, I can't speak. As a reliever, you can get away with it with the velocity and all that. As a starter, you do not have the velocity. The movement is still the same, but you can't. It's not the same pitch that it was as a reliever because of the velocity. But I will say the one good thing is for the most part he did hold said velocity as he progressed into the start. 85 pitches deep, he was still throwing 93, 94, which is good to see. But after that, some positives that I'll talk about for him. There was 14 batted ball events. He got 10 ground balls of those 14 pitches. So the ground balls were still there.
What,
Yeah,
70%?
Yeah,
About
I
that?
think
Take over?
71.4. He got up to 89 pitches. He got hit hard, but all but one batted ball was hit hard, not on the ground. So if you're going to hit it hard and it's hit into the ground, obviously there's more chance for it to get. Yeah, exactly. Kill worms all you want. You're just going to be facing Brett Beatty every time in the lineup. I think you saw flashes in the start where like, wow, this guy can be a really good starter. His first inning was very impressive because he got Jose Altuve on a disgusting sweeper after like throwing him sinkers on the inside.
I think he had a very similar start to Max Fried, with the
Kinda.
defense being more amplified for Fried, where he got a lot of ground balls, and yeah, sure, there were stuff that was hit hard, but his defense did betray him. And also, because he went 4 2/3 innings, you said?
Yeah, 4 and 2.
I feel like that number also just stands out because that's how much Fried went. But I feel like that's a very similar start.
Yeah, definitely. So,
sorry.
And like I mentioned earlier, Acuna botched a double play, which hurt him, obviously, from a run standpoint. And I think he threw like an extra pitch or two, so whatever. But, and then just quick negatives, like I mentioned, the pitch mix. Obviously, he did get hit hard, but as long as it's on the ground, it's okay. And then the command was just shaky. Forget about the walks. There's a lot of high sinkers, which obviously is just not where you want it. You wanted to get the ground balls with the sinkers. So there's a lot to like in Clay Holmes, but I think we kind of saw where things can go awry with Holmes, and that's with his command and the walks and all that. Because you add in the hit by pitch, you call that a walk, that's 5 walks in 4 2/3. Was just not going to play. But definitely, he was not the biggest issue in this game. Biggest issue was the offense that just got nothing working against Framber Valdez. That's a bit of a pattern this entire weekend. They had 2 late rallies in the 8th inning and the 9th inning, But at the end of the day, they only scored 1 run, which is in the ninth inning against Josh Hader. And then just some other notes, Huascar Brazoban and Danny Young both pitched in this game. They looked good. Danny Young looked really good. So this is my biggest issue of this game. So Justin, I'm not sure if you saw this, so I'm just going to paint the entire picture. In the 7th inning, I want to call it. Let me double check. It's 8th inning. Starting off the 8th inning, Luis Torrens was set to lead off. Carlos Mendoza pinch hits Jesse Winker for Luis Torrens. Sure. Hindsight's 2020. I think he was a little overeager pinch hitting Jesse Winker there.
Because I know
Luis Torrens.
I know this happens, but
okay. Luis Torrens had like one of the few hits of that game so far. And yeah, it was against Framber Valdez, who's a lefty. They brought in Brian Abreu, who's a righty. The hindsight's 2020, but because you pinch hit Winker in the 8th inning for Luis Torrens, that brought up backup catcher Hayden Sanger with the bases loaded and no outs against Josh Hader in the 9th inning. Again, hindsight's 2020, but you left Hayden Sanger with the biggest at-bat of the game in the 9th because you pinched hit Jesse Winker.
Didn't he have a solid at bat though?
He had a solid at bat, but he struck out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, like at the very least, you just need a fly ball there.
Yeah. I was able to see the last couple batters of that game, so I did see kind of like most of that top half of the 9th.
Yeah. So again, hindsight's 2020, but Luis Torrens is a fine batter. You can leave him in when, like, you're down 3 runs. So, like, yes, you want offense, but I think you kind of live with it. I don't think it's
What's Abreu's first name?
Brian.
Go on.
But yeah, I don't think it was a necessity to pinch hit Jesse Winker there. I think it was just a little overeager by Carlos Mendoza, which again left Hayden Sanger with the biggest at bat of the game, and you can't pinch hit him because there's no other catcher on the roster. And then this just exemplifies the need for Francisco Alvarez and kind of like his offensive potential that he brings to the table. And then yes, I'll mention Juan Soto struck out to end the game.
I was just gonna say, against right-handed hitters, why is this being goofy? Why am I being stupid? So last year, right-handed hitters hit 148 with a 229 on base, 261 slugging against Abreu. Lefties were 266, 365 on base, 427 slugging. So a very stark difference. And you want to look at FIP, he had a 2.7 FIP against righties, 4.35 against lefties, 2.87 expected against righties, 4.14 against lefties, expected FIP.
Yeah.
So
I understand. I don't know. Leading off the inning, like, I understand you're trying to get something going. I'm not a fan of the pinch hit there. And again, maybe it could just be hindsight, because what do I know? But I just wasn't a fan of pinch hitting right there.
Yeah.
Because look how it left out.
I'm also just curious.
Went out.
Yeah, also in his career, Luis Torrens is so much better against lefties.
Yeah, the platoon splits are...
Yeah, just for those that don't know, 69 WRC plus versus righties, 101, Yeah, 101 versus lefties. I was doing pitching, so I had it reversed in my mind. But so yeah, it makes sense, but yeah, hindsight is... I think that's more a hindsight one, honestly.
I think so.
I think I think that's the right move.
I don't know. We'll see. Or not we'll see, but we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But anyways, that ended the game. Mets lost. Yeah. Soto struck out. Mets lost 3-1. But again, Clay Holmes had a fine start. You can't win games if you're only scoring 1 run, which is gonna be in the 9th inning. You can't win games like that. But moving on to game 2, the Mets got their first win of the season. They won 3-1. Vientos and Winker both had RBIs, and Juan Soto hit his first home run as a New York Met. because of course it was on Apple TV, so you couldn't get the local broadcast call of it, which is very annoying, but that's how everything works out. So Juan Soto hit his first New York Met home run, the first of many. And Tyler McGill, I was pleasantly surprised and pleasantly pleased by Tyler McGill. He went 5+ innings. He started the 6th inning. I think he gave up a hit and a walk and then got pulled. Gave up 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. Amazing. Struck out 6. The biggest takeaway from McGill for me is he's throwing for sure he's throwing a new slider, and then his changeup is also a little different as well. The new slider, he added nearly 6 inches of drop, so it's a lot less horizontal. It's a more north-south movement in what they kind of call quote-unquote death ball slider shape. Basically, it kind of just dives down. It's more of kind of like a tighter, harder curveball in a sense, but that slider registered a 56 whiff percentage and was never hit into play. He used it a decent amount, and it just got really good results. And he seemed to kind of eliminate some pitches from his pitch mix, because if we just go through his pitch mix from that game, he went 51% four seam, 22% slider, 21% sinker, 4% changeup, 3% curveball. And then if we look at his 2024 pitch mix, he threw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different pitches in 2024. In his first outing of 2025, he simplified that to just 5. And then, of course, with the new slider, which registered really good results. And then for the changeup, it was a little different. He only threw it 3 times, so it might be small sample size type of thing. But he added 5.5 inches of horizontal movement, so has more arm side movement going away from lefties into righties. Again, only threw 3 of them, so we'll see. But it has very similar movement to Michael King's changeup and Joe Kelly's changeup. And Michael King's changeup is fucking disgusting. And if we look at the Stuff Plus grades, because that's what I wanted to look at, in this very small sample size of 3 pitches, it registered a 111 Stuff Plus. But in spring training, his changeup registered a 107 Stuff Plus. So the grade went up because of the added movement. It looks like a really good pitch. Again, I'm not sure if this was by design or just a circumstance of small sample size, but we'll see. Tyler McGill was just super impressive, and I really liked what I saw from him overall.
You can do it.
Water break. As for the bullpen took over Tyler McGill into the 6th inning, and they did not allow a hit. They walked 4, but they did not allow a hit. They went 4 innings, 0 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. It's a combination of Reed Garrett, AJ Minter, Ryan Stanek, and Edwin Diaz, who got his first save of 2025 and looked a lot better than he did in spring training and that he did at the beginning of last year. This was one of the first saves in a while that I wasn't on the edge of my seat for when Edwin Diaz was pitching. This was a pretty tame save from Edwin Diaz, which I truly appreciate.
I feel like that's how you know if a closer's dominant or not.
Yeah.
Depending on how, like what's it called? There was a tweet last season where it was like, what type of body movement are you doing when your closer's up? Are you laying back in your chair? Are you sitting up a little bit with your chair with like a beer in your hand? Are you standing up with your hands on your hip like this? Are you pacing around the room? It's like whatever you're doing is like the confidence level you have in your closer.
Honestly, like I saw him warming up. I saw him coming in. I'm like, all right, here we go. Just throw strikes.
Sitting up in the chair.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I was just watching like this. Just crunched over, just waiting to see. But last thing I got for game 2 is just a quick shout out to Reed Garrett, who came in after Tyler McGill. He came in of 2 on and no one out. he struck out 2 guys and then got a fly out to end the inning. And one of the 2 guys he struck out was Yordan Alvarez and Christian Walker, 2 of the very, very good hitters on the Astros. And then for game 3, the Mets lost 2-1. This was Griffin Canning's Mets debut. He pitched very well. I am very pleased with how Griffin Canning pitched. There was just left in probably a batter too long. He went 5 2/3, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, and struck out 4. The biggest, I guess, decision of this game came in the 6th inning with Yordan Alvarez coming up to the plate and I believe it was a man on second. 2 outs. Carlos Mendoza decided to leave Griffin Canning in to face Alvarez for a 3rd time after Canning got Alvarez the previous 2 at-bats. Alvarez ended up hitting a double, which untied the game and gave the Astros the lead. I don't hate leaving Canning in. If this was a game in, I don't know, call it May, June, I'd be a little upset because I just don't think that's the right move. But this is the guy's first start with the new team and kind of reworked him a little. I don't hate kind of seeing what you have in him from a confidence standpoint. And I think although it ended poorly with obviously Alvarez getting the hit and the run coming in, I think it speaks a lot if your manager kind of leaves you in to face one of the best hitters in the game who has had your number. Yordan Alvarez has incredible career numbers against Griffin Canning, but he got him the first 2 at-bats of this game. Carlos Mendoza trusted him to get him out a 3rd time. It obviously just didn't work, but I think that's huge from a confidence standpoint that this team believes in you, your manager believes in you. It just didn't work out this time. I think that yes, it sucks because that kind of costed the game, but I think it's this early that I think that's kind of like, I don't want to say it's the right way to look at it, but I think it's a good way to look at it. I'll say.
Yeah. I'm also used to the Yankees operating the other way, where they don't give a long leash. Like, if they know that Yordan's going to kill you, you get those 2 at-bats, and if you're, like, doing solid, whatever, and you're a new guy, they'll pull you. Unless, like, you're an ace-level pitcher. So, yeah, I'm just used to the other way of thinking, because that's how I had to, like, condition myself, but not a bad way to think. Definitely not a bad thing. Thank God. Do you hear that?
I did.
Oh my God.
Is that coming from outside?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Granted, my window's open, but if anyone heard that, I'm sorry, but...
It wasn't that loud.
Okay.
But I will say the pitch he threw to Yordan wasn't terrible. It was a slider at the bottom of the zone, which I think just caught too much plate. I think the idea was just to kind of bury the slider, but just got way too much plate. Yordan hit it very far away.
Yordan's Yordan.
They're probably very lucky it didn't go out.
Yeah.
But overall, Griffin Canning had a fine debut, a good debut, honestly. Like 5 2/3 against the Astros, only giving up 2 runs. This top 5 of the Astros lineup is really good. Very good. But from a pitch mix standpoint, the Mets had him throw over 50% slider. He went 54% sliders, 26% fastball, 15% changeup, and then 2% four-seam / sinker. So they just continue to hide his fastball, allow his slider, which is one of his better pitches, to kind of showcase. I'm shocked we didn't see more sinkers and or cutters, but he threw the changeup a decent amount, and it worked. It worked well against Yordan, and it worked well overall. And then after that, the bullpen, after Canning had 2.1 scoreless innings, Max Kranick made his debut, got Yordan Alvarez out, and then got the last out of the inning to retire the side. But once again, the Mets just did not score in this game. Again, they scored 1 run. The 1 run was because Jose Siri completely manufactured a run by himself. Did you see that by chance?
Somewhat. Not really, but...
So first of all, Jose Siri draws a walk which is already, insane.
Was he using a
Drew
torpedo
walk.
bat?
No. He steals second, moves over to third on a flyout, and then scores on a ground ball to the pitcher.
Okay.
Juan Soto hits it back to the pitcher. Pitcher's kind of little lackadaisical about it. Walks over to first, underhands it, and Sear just dashes for home. Somehow makes it. He's safe. The run scores. It's a tie game. But that's the one run they scored, and it was quite literally just because of Jose Siri. But besides that, they went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They left 4 men on base. They only recorded 1 hit. Overall, they scored 5 runs in 3 games, with 3 of those runs coming in game 2. The offense just didn't have it this series. That's really the only way to. Juan Soto was Juan Soto. He took his walks. He got his hits, but everyone else, as frustrating as it is, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he sucks, but it's just incredible and also frustrating just how slow Francisco Lindor starts the year. Like, I will give him time, obviously, because he's shown it time and time again. He just starts slow, but it is maddening how it's a year in, year out thing that he starts slow. And that's just it. That's the way it is. But
Aaron Judge.
besides that,
That's all I have to. It's
Besides that,
so
no-
frustrating. It is so
Oh my God,
frustrating.
yeah.
And
because you know the type of player they are, and you know it's gonna come out eventually. But it's just like watching it slowly build up is just.
that's why I'm like trying so hard not to like overreact to the Yankees just because Judge is hitting. Because
Yeah.
like think if Lindor was hitting and you guys swept in Houston, I feel like your confidence would be so. I'm not saying irrational, calling you irrational,
Yeah.
but just because you know he's a slow starter, but like
right.
just saying
It's
like, holy fucking
oh,
shit, are we about
Francisco
to
Lindor's
break
getting
the
off to a
wins
good
record?
start. Right.
Like,
Francisco Lindor's getting off to a good start. Juan Soto's in the lineup. Oh my God.
yeah.
You know? I think that's a very fair way to look at it, but unfortunately, that's not what happened.
When your star player
So-
doesn't do star player things, you look down.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Let's go up and down the lineup. Lindor, again, slow start, hasn't recorded a hit yet. Juan Soto was fine. Home run, double, got his walks, excellent.
Lost to the game.
Whatever. Scored more than 1 run before the 9th inning. I don't fucking know.
As a Yankee, it's 3-run home run.
Yeah, okay. Who's next? Pete Alonso, he looked fine. He had some pretty hard hit outs, so I'm honestly not worried about him. In his very small sample size, his Savant page is very red. So that's nice to see. But obviously I'm not taking too much stock into it just yet.
Yeah, the
But
12 at bats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he has a 1 hit, which was a hard hit single, but again, he had some hard hit balls who just found gloves. That was kind of like the pattern of the game. There were some decently hard hit balls that either died at the track or just found the glove, or they made a good play or something like that. Brandon Nimmo and Mark Vientos, who flip-flopped in the 4-hole. I will say, small sample size, but like Mark Vientos seems very jumpy in the 4-hole. He seemed very jumpy overall until maybe like the last couple at bats. I don't know if maybe later down the line when he's hitting and he has like that confidence, maybe I'd be okay with him hitting 4, but unless it's a tough lefty, I think I'd be okay with Brandon Nimmo kind of just being the cleanup hitter, like day in, day out. I don't know if you would disagree, or kind of would you play it matchup or kind of like stick to a guy? Because
If
so
he's hitting,
far
he's
it's been
hitting.
pretty. I mean,
You know what I mean?
yeah, but like, but so far it's been matchup based. If there's a lefty on the mound, it's Mark Vientos in the 4-hole. If it's a righty on the mound, it's Brandon Nimmo.
My thing is I feel like the 4 and 5 hole isn't that big of a difference.
Mhm.
To the point where I'd rather just the hot hand. Because like if Nimmo's hitting, Vientos isn't, I don't give a shit if a lefty's on the mound or not. Like I would want
Yeah.
Nimmo to get more at bats. Correct me if
Yeah.
doesn't Nimmo have like fairly even splits?
Uh,
Like fairly.
for the past couple of years, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause starting off, I think if you look at his career, they're probably a little skewed because he couldn't hit lefties for his life when he first
I feel
came
like
up.
that's a
but
lot of lefties though. As they mature, they learn to hit lefties. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
if Nimmo's raking, put Nimmo. If Vientos, I like a lot of what Mendoza does. I feel like that's almost from the school of Aaron Boone of overthinking, though.
Okay, like matchup basing.
Yeah,
stuff.
like I feel like sometimes if a guy's, it's one spot realistically for 4 and 5, and if Nimmo is a better hitter, I would rather Nimmo get more at bats. If Vientos is the better hitter, I'd rather Vientos get those at bats.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like it's almost an overthink to do lineups. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a stupid fucking podcast host in college.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, fair enough. But,
I just think people overreact a little bit too much to matchups. And so,
I
when
get
it's
what you
like
mean.
that minuscule, I feel like too big. I feel like the lineup consistency may matter more.
More. That's fair. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But yeah, I think up and down the lineup, obviously it's frustrating that they only scored 5 runs in 3 games. They lost 2 games. They start 1-2 on the season, yada yada. I'm not worried, obviously. I think it's way too early to even overreact. Forget about react. They had a lot of hard hit balls. They had some rallies. They just didn't get the big hit in. So I'm not worried about the offense. I think I'll be worried if things look very similar after the Marlins series. I think is where I'm at. After these 3 games against the Marlins, if things don't look any better, then all right, maybe I'll maybe there'll be a check engine light, but I'm not checking the engine yet. But
That's
if you're
been
gonna
me for the
overreact,
last couple of years.
if you're gonna overreact to the offense struggling, then the Mets have like the best pitching staff in baseball, right?
I mean, the
These
Yankees are about
starters-
to break the all-time home runs record, and like not even it be close.
Right in June.
Roki Sasaki's a bust.
Exactly. The Braves just started 0-4. They suck.
Dude, the
They're
Marlins are
horrible.
winning the goddamn World Series.
Right. The Marlins are currently leading the National League East. 3 games, 4 games.
You could take good
relax.
stuff from spring. You could take spring training. Jesus.
spring training.
You could
Not
take
anymore.
good stuff from the first week of the season. This stuff is. I don't want to say it's not going to matter, but at the end of the day, what you do the first 3 games has barely affect what you're doing game 130.
Right. So, with that being said, the starting pitchers pitched 14 innings overall and only gave up 5 earned runs in 3 games to a very good Astros lineup. The top 5, top 6, if you include Jeremy Pena, is very good. So, the starters look good. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty happy how Griffin Canning looked. I'm very excited with how Tyler McGill looked. And I am still in on Clay Holmes, no matter what. But before we kind of look ahead, any thoughts on the Mets overall, kind of the Astros series, things like that?
I think that if the Mets offense wants to be successful, they're going to have to get banana peels. And they're just going to have to start. They got to get a better morning
Why
routine.
do I try? Why do I try with this guy?
If you know the video, you know the video we're talking about. It's going to be the dumbest video of all time, but...
Was that it?
Do you see that he made a part 2? But...
All right.
No, but seriously... Juan Soto's going to be Juan Soto. You need guys... If Francisco Lindor... I don't want to say he's given leeway to start off slow, but you could almost expect that for the next couple
Yeah.
of weeks. You
Yeah.
need Pete Alonso to be Pete Alonso. Like you said, he had a shit ton of balls hards. Okay. Those got to start being hits. Those got to be hits if Lindor is going to be slow. Vientos / Nimmo. The idea of just switching them over flip flop, I don't like it personally, especially if one's hitting so much better than the other. Overall, I'm not that worried. You're playing a good Houston team, So, also interleague gets funky at times.
Mhm.
So
And
especially
I will also add they have a horrible record.
Mm.
But Dakin Park is it now? Whatever. Minute Maid Park. They have a horrible record there. They've lost like 10 of the last 12 games they've played there.
yeah,
They just don't like it. It is what it is.
too many trash cans.
Yeah. But that being said, next week of games for the Mets, starting Monday, they are in Miami against the Marlins. David Peterson makes his 2025 debut against Cal Quantrill. They are facing righties all throughout the series, so I would expect Jesse Winker and Brett Beatty getting most of the playing time. Kodai Senga makes his debut on Tuesday against Sandy Alcantara, so that'll be fun. The Mets always kind of hit Alcantara pretty well, so we'll see. And then Wednesday, Clay Holmes makes his second Mets start against Connor Gillespie. Then after that, they have an off day on Thursday. They start a 3-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays, who just lost Max Scherzer, who went on the IL. Home opener will be on Friday. Tyler McGill goes against Yariel Rodriguez. Then Griffin Canning against Chris Bassett, and then David Peterson against Bowden Francis. So, obviously, a Marlins team that looks good, looks really good right now, but this is a team that you should beat. This is a team that you should at least win the series. I'd be a little disappointed if they don't. I'll tell you that much. But very excited to see Kodai Senga debut. Hopefully, all goes well, and he actually does pitch and all that good stuff. Then interested to see Clay Holmes in the second start. Like the baseball season is way too early, is way too young for me to get worked up over slow starts and records and things. Like, I'm just excited to watch baseball and kind of see how things play out, which is very surprising because I usually am not. I feel like I'm usually a very overreactor, but I'm just very excited about the season and kind of just see how things play out. So,
As someone that lived with
Yeah.
you for 3 baseball seasons, hearing your reaction to different seasons, different games, I can
Yeah.
confirm what you say about that.
yeah, like even opening day, I was like, oh man, that sucks. But baseball's back. Like that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm too
Give it a
excited
week.
about the season
Wait,
starting. Yeah.
let's see
No,
where
exactly.
where we
Give it a
both
week.
are next week. Yeah.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
the
We'll
when
see
the
next week.
honeymoon phase goes away.
goes away, and then we're screaming for changes to be made. And Carlos Mendoza. So, yeah, exactly. So
You're
I
telling
say
me
that
Griffin
now,
Canning
but,
is still in this motherfucking rotation
yeah, he gave up 6 runs in how many innings? But no.
to the goddamn.
Regardless, Justin, have you got nothing else?
Rub those banana
No.
peels.
Rub those banana peels. Get your sparkling water. 4:30 a.m. We'll be live streaming our morning routines.
Did you see he
Running
made
full
a night
speed on
routine one?
treadmills. He made a night routine.
He made a night routine one.
Oh my god! Whatever. Mr. Beast killed it anyways. He started joking around with it. He killed the
Mr.
joke.
Beast
It's
kills
not,
everything.
it's not funny anymore, guys. Let it go. But with that being said, baseball's back. We're excited. I'm excited. Justin excited. I'm excited. Can't wait. Yeah, you good? You good there?
Yeah, you said like we're excited. I'm excited. Just as excited. I'm excited.
Can you tell how excited I am?
Outro monkey.
All right. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe so you never miss an episode. A lot of you guys last time were not subscribed listening, so just hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of us. Leave us a comment. What are your thoughts from the Yankees, Mets, or both? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, remember to leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a comment there as well. Lets us know that you're enjoying the show. It really helps us out. And remember to follow our social media accounts at Triboro Podcast. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week with the next week of games.